And the first game I'd like to talk about is The Hobbit. The Hobbit. The first game I'd like to talk about is The Hobbit. Come on, Rodney Smith, how in the world? The first game I'd like to talk about is The Hobbit. He doesn't even look away, does he? He just goes like, I missed that one. He doesn't even look away. Rodney Smith guy is like sold his soul to the devil or something. That one's gone. Hi guys, my name is Andrew Davidson and welcome back to another As Per My Ability video. If you like what we do here at As Per My Ability, if you like our videos, if you like our channel, if you like our content, if you like board games in general, do us a favor, comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you hit the little bell when you subscribe so you get notifications when we post new videos. We really appreciate the love that people give us for subscribing, or if you're going to subscribe, thank you. We say thank you to you and helping support our channel. So I know some of you are thinking, when you see the deck of cards, what am I doing with the deck of cards? Today, I'd like to talk to you about trick-taking games. During the holiday season, I had a few friends of mine come up to me or either chat with me online about games that they wanted to get for like a sibling or a brother or brother-in-law or something like that. One particular friend of mine, I guess I can say she's a friend. We fight more like we're a married couple than actual friends. But yeah, one friend of mine approached me online and was asking my opinion for a game for Christmas. And so the first thing that I do, and I think any board game person, whatever you want to call us, is ask, well, what's the age? What's the player count that you're looking for? Is this person someone that would enjoy competitive type game, something that's less competitive, or something that's completely cooperative? And this gal mentioned something about cards, looking for an easy kind of card game. The first thing that came to my mind was a trick-taking game. What about a trick-taking game? In which her response was, what's a trick-taking game? Now, trick-taking games have been around for a long time. I did not do the research, so I don't have dates and names and facts and figures to give you. I've been around for a long time using pretty much a standard deck of cards. Recently, within the last, I'd say 10 years, board games have taken over the trick-taking idea and gotten away from the poker deck and started to use their own cards, their own suits, their own jack, queen, kings, their own deterministic value for their game. What I'd like to do in this video is I explained what a trick-taking game was to my friend over chat. So I'm sitting there typing it out. I think I really failed. I failed this person. I did not do a very good job explaining it. I think if you were to ask her, she would agree that I didn't do a very good job explaining it. So in order for some type of web redemption, I'm going to try explaining trick-taking games 2.0 with the camera. Hopefully, I can get some edits and get through this, and I'll explain what a trick-taking game is, and then we'll come back up top and I will show off, what do I have, 4 games? I have 4 games that I will show off that are trick-taking games that are away from the, what I would call traditional trick-taking set, which is just a set of poker cards. So we'll get through the instructional. Hopefully I'll explain trick-taking better this time than I did last time, and then we'll come back and I'll talk about some games that, hey, if you think that this would work, then these games will work. So let's get started. All right, trick-taking games explanation version 2.0. So a trick-taking game is typically played with a standard poker deck, not a pinochle deck. That's different. Trick-taking games that you might be familiar with are games called Up the River, Down the River, Tricks, Hearts, and Spades. Those are the ones that are kind of the big trick-taking games. So how they work is, they all kind of work a little bit different, but I'm just going to give the fundamentals of what a trick-taking game is. And so they start off with, a player having some kind of handful of cards. So a player will get some cards. And then the top card will be flipped and a trump suit will be established. So I'm going to put this up here. And so we now know that diamonds is our trump suit. And then typically the left of the dealer would play out first. So let's say the dealer plays out a card and they play the 10 of spades. Now, this sets a precedent because every other player at the table in clockwise order, so in other words, to the left, they all have to follow suit if they have it. So if they have a spade, they have to play a spade. So Bobby would play his 6 of spades, and Sarah plays her spade, and so let's say there's just 3 players. At the end, once everyone has played a card, we evaluate. You look at the lead suit, which the lead suit was spades, and you look at the highest within the lead suit. So the ace is the highest, so whoever played the ace, Sally, Sarah, whatever her name is, she would win this trick. So she would take these cards, place them in a pile in front of her, and that would be a trick that she won. Now she gets to play the first, or she gets to lead out, as they say. So she would lead, let's say Sally leads with the king. Now notice that king, we're going to deal with trump now. So now she's playing in a trump suit. And again, this sets a precedent. Everyone at the table, if they have a diamond, they have to play a diamond. So John might play his diamond. Now you're saying, what if I don't have a diamond? Or what if I don't have what's been led, just in general? If you don't have what's been led, there are some trick-taking games that say, if you have trump, you have to trump. Most of the ones that I play personally are the ones that say you can play anything. So let's say we get over to Matt's turn, and Matt doesn't have any diamonds, so he can play whatever he wants. So he throws out the 7 of spades. So then once everyone has played, again, we evaluate who has the highest in the suit that was led. The king is the highest, so Sally, again, she wins this trick, places it over here, and then she gets to lead out, meaning play first, again. So now here's a third example I'd like to go through. So Sally plays out the 3 of clubs. And then we go around the table, and everyone has to play the clubs. So then John plays to the 4 of clubs. So right now, as we've established, if the trick were to end right now, John would win, because we would look at the established suit, which is clubs, and we would look at the highest within this established suit. And so 4 is higher than 3. So John would actually win this if that's what if it were to end how it is right now. But let's say someone comes along and they don't have any clubs. If they had clubs, they would be forced to play clubs. But let's say I'm in this game. Just pretend I'm playing in this game and I don't have any clubs. Well, I am choosing to play this card then. Now, the trump suit, which in this round example is diamonds. So anything that's played in the trump suit will trump any other lead suit. So like I said, in this case, John would win. The 4 clubs would win the trick, so to speak. But now it's been trumped. And so let's look at another example. Let's say the 3 was led, and then John decided to play, I'm going to trump. So right now, even though the 2 is lower than the 3, it is the trump suit. Trump basically just beats everything else. Now, if someone else comes along, let's say you have trump within trump on a non-trump led trick, and I just determine I'm playing this jack, well, we would look at the lead suit, and whoever has the highest in the lead suit would win, unless if trump is involved. Then we look at the highest trump. So I would win this trick. So I would take this trick, take the cards, and I'd place them in front of me. Now I get to lead out. And we keep playing until, we keep leading out until everyone is out of hand, out of cards. They have no hand. Then you would basically add up how many tricks you've taken, and depending on what game you're playing, you score points off of tricks, or you might score points off of a bid, meaning like you will bid, I'm going to take 2 tricks. So if I do actually take 2 tricks, I get points. If I only take 1 trick when I said I would take 2, then I don't get any points, or I maybe just get 1 point. That part's all relative to the game that you're playing. I just wanted to go through the fundamentals. So one more time, once everything has been played, it gets shuffled up. Cards get shuffled back in. The cards are dealt out, to a certain amount of cards, depending on, again, the game that you're playing. And then you'll set the deck down and flip over the top card. This time for our round, clubs would be the trump suit. So play would continue exactly the same by just having a different suit as trump. So I could lead, let's say I could lead out because let's say I'm sitting left to the dealer. So I lead out with the queen of hearts. Someone else plays the 3. Someone else plays that 4. Well, who would win this suit or this trick? Well, you look at the lead suit, hearts. Is there anything that's higher in hearts? Or is there any trump? Well, there's nothing higher in hearts. There's not a king or an ace. And there is no trump. There's no clubs. There's a spade and there's a diamond, but there's no trump. So that means I would win this suit. I let out the queen, and that means I won this trick. And then I would lead out again. So I would say like 5 of diamonds. Oops, let's get that little in frame. And then, someone else would come along and say, oh, I don't have any diamonds, so I'm going to play that. And another person would play this. Well, now in this, again, there's no trump involved, but the lead suit was diamonds, and 8 is following the lead suit, so 8 beats a 5, so whoever played the 8 would then take this trick. Notice there wasn't any trump involved, so trump, you don't necessarily have to have trump to win every single trick. Now, the last thing I'm going to say, that's pretty much it for the explanation. You go through all the cards, and then you'll shuffle up, and you'll deal a certain amount of cards. It'll go up or down, and then you'll establish a new trump. Oh, back to diamonds. So, one thing that I want to talk about before we kind of come up at top and I talk about some games is that the scoring for these games are completely unique. Sometimes there's something that's called sloughing. So I want to talk about some terminology. So a trick is basically just the round of cards that everyone plays. So in a 3-player game, let's stay in frame here, Andrew. If there's a 3-player game, there'll be 3 cards or 4 or 5 or 6 cards, depending on how many players you have. But at the end of the round, once everyone has played a card, that is considered a trick. And then you establish, well, who won the trick. So they would take these cards. Okay, you won the trick over here, so we'll put them over there. That is what's called a trick-taking games. But there's also terminology called slough. If I get points by not, because I know you're thinking like, well, you want to get trump, you want to take tricks. Yeah, maybe. But there are certain games and certain times where you want to use what the term is called slough. You want to slough cards, meaning you don't want to take any tricks. Why? Because if you are able to go through all of your cards in your hand that you're dealt and not take any of the tricks that are played, if someone else takes all the tricks and I end up with 0 tricks at the end of the round, I get points. And so you'll want to basically kind of hide underneath someone else's cards or slough a card. So if someone leads out with a 7 of diamonds, well, I have to play diamonds. Like I said, the lead suit sets a precedent for the rest of the players. If I have diamonds, then I'd say I'd look at my diamonds and hopefully I have a chance I would play this. Notice how I just sloughed my 6 card. I just went 1 underneath. So there's no way that I could win this trick. Even if someone comes along and trumps it, let's say that the heart is a trump. If someone trumps it, I'm not going to win because someone trumped it. If someone follows suit, hold on 1 second. If someone follows suit with the diamonds, then I'm still not going to take it because either A, they're going to play a card that's higher, a diamond card that's higher than mine, or B, they're going to play a diamond that is, that is lower than mine, like this, but I'm still not winning the trick, and that's a good thing for me because I'm trying to slough my cards. You might have some games where you're supposed to take 2 tricks and then that's it. So once you take your first 2 tricks, then they say you got to get out. That's another term, phrase. I got to get out, meaning I got to slough cards now. I got to start playing cards that I will not take any tricks. And so that's some basic analysis of trick taking and some of the strategy in regards to leading, the lead suit, the trump suit, getting out and sloughing cards. And so that's the fundamental aspect of trick-taking games. That's how you play a basic trick-taking game. So let's talk about some trick-taking games that are non-traditional. Well, there you have it. Hopefully, the second time around, I was able to explain trick-taking and the idea behind trick-taking a lot better than I did the first time over chat. And so, having said that, I'm going to talk about 4 games that are what I call non-traditional trick-taking games. And what I mean by non-traditional is that they use their own components, their own cards. You can't just buy a poker deck and just playing with traditional cards. So these are non-traditional trick-taking games. The first one I'd like to talk about is called The Fox and the Forest. It is a 2-player only game. So this is good for like couples, spouses, friends, but it's only 2 players. And the goal of the game is to basically get to 21 points by winning so many tricks. You want to take a certain amount of tricks, but not less than that, not more than that. You kind of have a goal that you're like a parameter of tricks that you want to take to score points. And so like here are the cards. There are some special ability cards. This isn't really a tutorial video, so I'm not going to go over like the special abilities, but these are the cards. You've got basically 3 suits. You've got orange, you've got purple, and you've got like a light blue color. And so Fox in the Forest, like I said, is a 2-player game. It is a trick-taking game. It is probably, at the time of recording this, my favorite trick-taking game. At least one that I have. One that I own, that I can show off to you. I don't know of another trick-taking game that I don't have. Now, there's also the Fox in the Forest Duet, which is also exact same thing, 2 players, same cards, same idea, but duet means that it's cooperative. So you have, you have your competitive version, which is great. I really enjoy this game. And you have your cooperative version. So these 2 games kind of run somewhat fundamentally the same because they're both trick-taking games. It just depends on whether if you like cooperative or if you want to face off against your opponent. So these 2 are a pretty good set if you want to buy them together. They're pretty cheap. The next game that I want to talk about is a semi-cooperative trick-taking game. It's probably the lowest on my list because of the ingenuity that is just kind of lacking in this game, but it still is a trick-taking game, and it's still a game that I own that I haven't been able to give away, and that is called The Hobbit, the card game. Yeah, the Hobbit card game. It is a trick-taking game. It is semi-cooperative, meaning that depending on how many players you have, and I should show off the cards too, depending on how many players you have, you're going to have one bad guy and everyone else is a good guy, and they're trying to win particular tricks to win the game. If you have larger player count, you'll have 2 bad guys working together against the rest of the table, and they'll be taking tricks. I was going to show off all the cards. These cards are very small and pretty easy to read, but again, there's suits of like red, green, yellow, orange, no, not orange, blue, and stuff like that. Have different like values on them and things like that. So again, it's semi-cooperative, so this one plays more than 2 players. In fact, I recommend playing it with as many players as you can, up to 6. So 6 players, 2 bad guys, 4 good guys. That's the sweet spot for this game. But at the end of the day, fundamentally speaking, it is a trick-taking game. So if you like The Hobbit, there's really not much of a Lord of the Rings theme to this. Like it doesn't feel thematic at all. It's just play cards, take tricks, work with your buddies, or try to work with if you're the evil guy, try to, like I said, it's the lowest on my list, whereas Fox in the Forest and Fox in the Forest Duet are higher on my list. Now I'm going to get to one that's kind of in between. I still really like this game, but I'd say it's in between the 2 that I just talked about, and that is called The Crew. Now, The Crew is a 100% fully cooperative game. And the reason why I really like The Crew is because you get in the game, you get a logbook that looks like this, and it will give you up to, I believe, 50 scenarios of how to, like, not how to play the game, but kind of. Fundamentally, again, it's still a trick-taking game. That's why it's on this stupid video. But at the end of the day, there's scenarios that you can pick out. Scenario 15, and it modifies the game or ramps the difficulty up and will give you a way to kind of set up the game and how to win. And it's fully cooperative. And so this one has, I should say, the crew has the most replayability because, like I said, it comes with the logbook that allows you to mix up the game. So you'll start with scenario 1. Okay, that was easy. 2, a little bit more difficult. 3, a little more difficult. By the time you get to scenario 10, it's introducing like new mechanics of how cards work or how you play cards. By the time you get up to 25, it's introducing like 8 different mechanics of how the game works. By the time you get up to 50, you're playing like an incredibly challenging, this is a really challenging game. I'll show off the cards. These are the cards for it. They come in colors blue, green, yellow. The missiles are the trump card. This is the trump. And this is kind of what the deck looks like. The values go from 1 to 9, I believe. I think 9's the highest in this. And so those are 4 games that I would recommend if you're into the trick-taking idea, if you like trick-taking games. Those 4 are the ones that I own that I at least can show on camera and talk to you about on camera. If there's some that I forget, like I said, I'll put a little text at the bottom or something like that. But that's all I have to say for this video. Hopefully this will expand you into some trick-taking games. Sounds fun. Hopefully you'll hop on Amazon or wherever you would buy games and pick up one of these 4 games. So that's everything from me. Again, my name is Andrew Davidson with As Per My Ability. Thank you for checking out our video. And as always, I will see you guys at the next video.